Oh, I've got an itchy nose just as we're going live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Seller Ladies Live. It's a lovely sunny afternoon here in Newcastle. I don't know what it's like where you all are, but it's nice. Oh, I've got some feedback there.
Sorry. It might. I don't know if it's me and this stupid microphone. Hope it's not.
Oh. Right, I hope everyone's good. Today I'm joined by Kelly from Flipping Fantastic Finds.
Hello.
I'm joined by Heather from Heather the Treasure Pirate.
And Max the cat.
And Andrea from Andrea Hills, the legend.
No.
So something a little bit different today. I've been watching This Morning, and I don't know if anybody else watches it, but they have a phone in pretty much every day, and one of them is, am I being reasonable? And they always have like advice phone-ins, and I thought, do you know what, I'd be quite good at that, and I'm sure the other ladies would too, about giving some advice. So I've asked people for questions on anything, so eBay related or anything else. So if any of you guys have got any dilemmas or questions you want to put in the side chat, we'll try and answer some at the end. So if you ladies could keep an eye on that as well. And so I've got 3 eBay related questions. So I'll start off with question number 1, which is from Lisa on Instagram, and she says, what impact do you think a neutral feedback has on your account? And I'll ask Heather first.
Drop me straight in, why not? I think my view on it has probably changed over time. I think when I first started out and I was concerned to build a good shop and reputation, I didn't much care for getting a neutral or a negative, which happens because that's business. Nowadays, I really don't care so much. And if someone's got nothing at all, I'm a bit suspicious, to be fair. You're going to expect the odd neutral from someone who's selling vintage and antique and sort of interesting stuff. So actually, I hardly ever read my feedback at all. I'm very lazy in that respect. I'm not that bothered. If someone's really unhappy, hopefully they'll let me know, and if they're happy, then I'm happy too. So basically, I don't take too much notice of it, and I've been going a long time now. I've got a lot of good feedback anyway. So I think the odd, misdemeanor where something goes wrong or someone's just determined to be unhappy, I don't stress about it really.
What's your view on it, Kelly?
Well, it doesn't bother me if I get a neutral feedback now, like Heather said. It did initially. But I think the feedback system's a bit strange anyway, because neutral is just like, well, yeah, it's turned up, it's fine, it's what I was expecting. That's what I would say was a neutral. It's not absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that's where you want your positive, don't you? So do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
With a neutral, it's hard to judge, because if it just turns up and it's everything you expected, it's a neutral thing. Well, yeah, it's what I've expected.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit strange, like a 1 to 10 thing. I mean, I very rarely would mark anything at 10 out of 10.
Mm.
But with eBay, I know that means something. So yeah, you do the positive, don't you, with 5 stars or whatever.
Yeah. What about you, Andrea?
I don't think it makes much difference, a neutral. It's different if it's negative, but I don't think a neutral makes much difference, so I don't really worry about it too much.
Yeah. I do find that sometimes people will put a neutral, but then they'll put something quite funny with their comment, which I don't always appreciate. So if that happens, I might ring eBay and say I'm not happy with this. And I have had a couple removed from that when people have put something, like when I was selling my console covers, someone put neutral and then would put not worth the money or whatever, or not very good for what it is, or something like that. And that's, if it was something that wasn't very nice, then I would try and get it removed. But I don't get too many, so I'm quite lucky, really.
Yeah, I think like Lex was saying on one of her chats, I've got one that's about to fall off.
Yeah.
It's annoying when you've got one.
Yeah.
Something so long ago.
I'm like that. I hate it when you've got it, because it's all nice and neat, isn't it? Those 3 rows, and then when you've got something that's not right, it annoys you when you see it all the time.
People are naturally drawn to negatives. I think this is the problem. Is you know, oh, there's a negative. Let's see what it says. But I think if you've got, I don't know, 3,000 positives and 2 negatives in the last year, is that seriously an issue? Probably not.
Yeah.
And I don't honestly think buyers pay much attention. They don't read the bloody description, never mind the feedback. I mean, you know, we're talking seriously not paying attention vibes here. So,
I mean, I will sometimes look at someone's feedback, and if it's in the like 90s, then I'm happy buying from them. But I do sometimes, it depends on what it is really, what I'm buying, but I do sometimes look at people's feedback. But I really don't think it affects too much. I wouldn't worry, have sleepless nights about it. Lisa. Ask the question, Lisa. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm really sorry, I forgot to say hello to the chat. So hello, all of you 57 people watching. I hope you're all good. I don't know if any of you in the chat saw the first comment, but we're just going to gloss over that because that happens to be my husband.
Are you going to ignore it, Karin?
He's only joking anyway. He winds me up all the time. So I know it's just a joke. It's just pulling my leg. Right. So second question is from Dolly Doos on Insta. Bear with, and I will find it. Right. Dolly says, what is the best day and time to start listings on eBay? I sell my own items as I don't have a business and always start my listings on a Sunday at 6 p.m. However, I never know if that's the right thing to do. Kelly first, please.
I tend to send buy it nows live as soon as I've got the listing ready. So I just set it could be 4 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night. I don't really think it makes much difference. Auctions I try and set to end in the evenings, so around 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really give it much thought, to be honest.
Yeah, I tend to, as you know, I have days where I do loads and days where I do nothing. And I find it really difficult to keep those drafts there. I just want to get it all listed at once. So I'll probably list about 30 items at once, and it's whenever I'm actually doing it. So sometimes it's the morning, sometimes it's the afternoon. I wouldn't say I list on a Sunday. The only thing I do on a Sunday is if I've got auctions. I do that at, it used to be 7, but I changed it to 8 o'clock because I read somewhere that there's more people on at 8 o'clock than there is at 7, but I don't know if that's true. So I changed it to 8 o'clock now that I do my auctions on a Sunday. What about you, Heather?
It's slightly different. I mean, I do some auctions every day and I do some buy it nows every day. And they can go on. I tend to put them on in the evening, but that's just because I'm scheduling them. So I will list a massive load at once, but then I'll actually schedule them to go live over the coming days, weeks, whatever. With auctions, I do have them every day and I do go for the evening. We eat quite late, so I think, I tend to go for later endings just because I wouldn't want to sit watching an auction while I was having my tea. But I tend to put my really lovely stuff to end on a Sunday evening, because I know there's a lot of people who are sitting there scrolling through their feeds, and having a look at auctions. Then I don't know for sure if that works, but I'm willing to try anything really, to be honest. Just keep listing, that's the key. Just keep going.
What about you, Andrea? I suppose you have lots of listings going on at different times, don't you? Because there's you and Nick listing on the same account.
Yeah. In terms of auctions, we rarely do them, to be honest. It's mostly buy it now, and we don't have a set time. We do the same as Kelly and put them up as soon as we've listed them. So yeah, they go up all various times.
Yeah. I mean, I have planned on this lot of stuff that I've got now. I did say it was 30 items. I think it might be more because I've got the shoes, I've got a bundle of clothes and some other bits and bobs. So it might be 40 to 50 items. I'm going to try and just do 5 at a time and keep the rest in drafts and try and list 5 a day.
That's always my plan, but I just get too excited.
Yeah. Because I know I can't go and get more stuff. I think I'll try and do that. I'll try and hold myself back. Right, this next one is from Craft by Example on Instagram, and she wants our opinion. So she sells handmade, and a lot of people don't appreciate the price reflects the work you've put in, as well as materials, and try to get stuff cheaper. Also, people messaging to see if you've dispatched when it's still within dispatch time. Most of the time being extremely rude when asking both things. Things, hang on, it really winds me up anyway, and she'd like to know what we would do in that situation. Obviously, I've been selling handmade items for 6 years on and off, and the first thing I would say is try and remain as professional as you can, because I mean, I used to have to deal with a lot of young guys, very impatient gamers, and they often were quite rude. And I just used to say, if they got into the whole, first of all, I used to say it will take, if it's something that they've ordered specifically, it's going to take a few days turnaround because I've got to make it and I have other orders. And also I used to explain to them my costs. And sometimes I used to get an apology. People saying, "Oh, I didn't realise," so that was nice. And if you just try and remain as professional as possible and say please and thank you, it all goes a long way and sometimes calms them down because they feel bad for being funny if you're still being nice with them. So that's the advice I would give. I don't know what you guys find when you get someone who's funny with you, Heather?
Tends not to happen because I'm not hand making things. I don't make anything. It is all found stuff. But yeah. I would say that if you're putting a lot of love and effort into making something, then that has to be really emphasized in the listing. And perhaps you could also post on Etsy as well, because it's a bit of a slower thing, but it's more handmade. And as far as I understand, I'm not that. Oh, sorry, my cat's decided to move. Go on. He was snoring, by the way, in case you could hear him. So yeah, I mean, as Cohen has just said, being as professional as you can, but sticking to your guns, not being bullied into trying to speed up or trying to rush an order. And yeah, they're going to be what they're going to be. But if you just think, well, they don't know you, it's not personal to you. They're just in their head, and that's their way of doing things. But you just have to say, no, behave.
Yeah. What do you do with awkward customers, Kelly?
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't rise to it. Like you say, try and remain professional. Please and thank you. Overdo it a little bit. What do you know what the lady makes? What she makes, Karen?
She didn't say. No. She looks like she does crochet. Oh, beautiful crochet.
Yeah, I was just about to say, people don't realise sometimes how much, if it's crochet or knitting or something that takes a lot of time to do and skill. Yeah. They just don't realise how much work goes into some things sometimes, do they?
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a long time.
Probably just been scrolling through and thought, oh, that looks nice. And compare it to a shop brought item of a similar style, and obviously handmade bespoke is totally different. It's made specifically to your orders. So yeah, it's hard.
Are you the same?
Yeah, and I definitely the politeness, even though you might be, saying a few words behind the keyboard.
Oh yeah, you've always got to salute them as you send the message off, haven't you?
But yeah, I would say about Etsy as well. That's definitely a really good place to sell, because I think people who buy on Etsy tend to understand more what goes into what they're buying. So it's probably a nicer community really to buy from if you're selling handmade. It
looks like we've got a question from Bad Wolf in the chat as well. It says, when do you leave feedback for buyers? At the time of sale, dispatch, or when they've left feedback for you? I leave it when I dispatch the item, just interested to know what others do. I only leave feedback for people who leave it for me. basically, because I wouldn't want to leave a good feedback for someone and then them send me a horrible one back. So if they've took the time to send me a feedback, I take the time to send them one, basically. And what about you, Andrea?
We now have it on auto feedback. So as soon as we receive feedback from someone else, it sends feedback to them.
Yeah. So I still need to work out how to do that. I just do it as they come in. What about you, Heather?
Yeah, same. It's all automatic. I have no involvement with it. There's a selection of phrases that you can put in, and it just randomly selects one and pops it out. And that's so. At least they get feedback if they're given it. But if they don't give feedback, I'm not that worried. To be fair, I'm notoriously bad at actually giving feedback when I've bought something because I'm busy. So I don't take it personal. And there's nothing worse than being hassled for feedback, which I've had one or two companies try and do. And it's like, I'm sorry, but no, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Usually the ones that import from China and about 3,000 items a minute.
It puts you back up, doesn't it? And you think, I don't actually want to leave your feedback now.
Plus, they haven't got a single negative. You're like, that's suspicious in my mind. There's something very wrong if you sell that much and you've never had an egg. So, just automatic.
Yeah. Who did I not ask? Kelly?
Automated as well.
Oh, you have? Right, I really need to get that automated. I just go through a batch of doing them at once. I check and do it. But I do get some lovely feedback, which it just gives me such a boost. And I've had people take the time to message me and say how pleased they are with something, and they really appreciate, me getting back to them so quickly and stuff. I love that stuff. I like to. I'm one of those people that likes to be told I'm doing a good job.
Don't you always dread it when you get a message though?
Yeah.
And such a relief when it's a nice message saying, "Oh, I love my item," but when you've initially I recognise that name. Oh God, it's gone on.
And another thing I was going to say actually about handmade items, you often find people want what you don't have. You have a massive selection, and then they want what you haven't got. So, which I don't mind with when it comes to, like, I've been doing the face coverings lately. I don't mind at all because I love buying fabric. So if someone says to me, "Oh, can you get such and such fabric?" I love looking for it, finding a good price, getting the fabric. So that's okay. But sometimes it's a bit awkward when people want what you're not doing. It is a bit awkward. So, but you have to just, I suppose, when you're making a bespoke item, people want you to go further than you can. When I was making my dust covers, a lot of people used to say, "Oh, can you make this, that, and the other?" And I was like, I can't do that for copyright reasons, for starters. So, you just have to disappoint them, really. But hey ho. Right, are we all ready for some dating-related questions?
Really, no.
We're obviously the most qualified.
I mean, I haven't dated since 2002. I don't know about you guys.
I haven't dated since 1997. So.
Yeah, we'll try our best.
I'm keeping quiet. I can beat the lot of you, but I'm keeping quiet.
Right, I've just got to find it. Sorry, I've had messages from all over. So I keep losing where things are. Right, I know the message is from Joe because I wrote down a list of who's emailed what. Now I've got to find it. I think I've gone past it.
I wouldn't have a clue how to start dating again.
God, no.
I wouldn't know where to start.
I'm trying to think how many years ago it was now. I think it was a couple of years ago. That's how my sister met her husband. She'd been on a few dating apps and met some duds. And we were on the phone and she was feeling really miserable and saying, "I'm never going to find anyone." And I was flicking through a magazine. I think it's because it had a voucher in it. So I don't normally buy magazines, but it had a voucher in it. I can't find this question. And it was for Bella Dating, I think. Free, 2 weeks free Bella Dating. So she went on there, like signed up and everything. And she had the 2 weeks and she hadn't heard anything from anyone. And then she went on there to cancel before she got charged and found this message from her now husband, Paul. Lovely message. and they started talking on the phone. And then he lives in Essex, and he came to Felixstowe, and they went out, met for a coffee, and coffee turned into lunch, and then lunch turned into dinner. And then she was just like on the phone with me for ages saying, I think I've just met my soulmate. And they got married last April, and they're just really happy. She moved to Essex, which I'm so shocked that she did that. Yeah, and he's a great guy, really nice guy, and very rich, which is quite nice. So she's living the life of luxury. Well, she's not really. They both work on a I shouldn't have said that, because this is my channel. She might watch it.
Yeah.
They both work on his sister owns a vineyard, and they both work on the vineyard, and they work together, and really happy. So, oh my goodness, Joe, I can't find your message. I think it was along the lines of I still can't find it. Where is it? Keep going up and down, up and down. I think it was on the lines of she's not dated for a while and she wants to get back into dating. And the dilemma is, at the moment, you can't meet for coffee or a drink. So what would you say is the best way to meet someone that you're chatting to and you get on with, and you want to meet up?
I suppose you could socially distance meet someone, like go to the park and, sit on a bench at either end, or, I don't know, take a couple of blankets or something and sit in the open air and take a picnic.
Mm-hmm.
Do that.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was going to say. Meet in a park and have a separate socially distanced picnic blanket chat on your own picnic blankets.
Yeah, and if you're feeling uncomfortable to meet someone for the first time, then a public park where there's lots of people there already is quite a good place to go, isn't it? Because then you'd feel a bit more secure.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, do you both agree?
Well, yeah, and also you could also have an online face-to-face, because you want to see the person, you want to see their expression, and so if if you're not quite at that stage, then you can at least have a FaceTime chat to them and
a Zoom call.
Because written word, the way someone communicates in written word is very different to the way they sound and their energy and when they speak. So although that's not ideal, it still gives you a good feel for somebody at least. But the chemistry only really comes when you actually meet them, I think.
And it's always interesting when you see people face to face, because they could always have a strange looking thing standing in the corner and you think they're a bit weird. Got his thing up.
Right, I'm going to
take a scope out the background and think, do they match what they're saying?
I will take the wig off.
Yeah, that's a little bit less spooky.
And I'm not wearing pajama bottoms. They're harem pants before anyone says anything.
It's a slippery slope.
You know what I've done? I've folded all my jeans up and put them in a box. Because
you didn't iron them first, did you?
No. They were ironed though on the hangers, but I just folded them up and put them in a box.
Jeez,
I do iron.
Sorry.
So Lex has a question. How do you meet a potential partner if you generally just dislike everyone? Asking for a friend.
Bloody difficult.
You need to open yourself up to new people and possibilities, Lex. Yes.
You could be standing behind someone lovely in a queue, waiting to go into the supermarket. You never know. I mean, meeting people's never easy anyway, but being prepared to at least engage in a bit of, I hate the word, but small talk, or at least a bit of banter, it helps, doesn't it?
See, when I met Darren, if that was a dating app, I would have scrolled past him because he was a smoker when I met him. And no, not by his looks. He was a handsome chap when I met him.
Good.
Glad you did, I hope.
God, what was
Keep on digging.
That's the one thing I didn't like about him when I met him, that he was a smoker. So I nagged him and nagged him and nagged him until just after we got married, he gave up smoking. So, and he hasn't smoked for years now. So, 15 years.
I think the thing when you're trying to find a partner is you get the idea of you like the perfect man or perfect woman that you want. You've got to remember that you're not perfect, so you can't expect them to be absolutely perfect as well. You're both going to have issues or things that you might not like about each other, but it's whether you can work with those and go forward, or whether it's a deal breaker. It's something that you can't deal with. Because you're never going to be 100% compatible with somebody and just all lovey-dovey all the time.
The interesting things that psychologically people say they have this thing about opposites attract, and I'm not entirely sure that's true. Something that does seem to be fairly well documented is actually if you share common values with somebody, as in the way you look at the world, your kind of stance on the world, if that other person has a similar way of looking at the world, then you're gonna feel like you kind of know them so much better before you really do. So it's the big stuff of life. It's not necessarily politics, although it can be, but just your sort of sense of values and morals and all sorts of things will tend to set a benchmark. And actually, one of the things that people get soulmatey about people is actually they've detected that person probably has very similar, how can I put this delicately, issues to themselves. So the things that have gone wrong in your life or things you're dealing with, they tend to be dealing with them as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and it takes the big conversations, the up all night talking kind of conversations, to actually discover that about somebody, and that's why you get on so well, because you've actually got that common ground.
Yeah, totally.
I think
Lex says she is perfect.
Of course.
I think us women can be a little bit naughty though sometimes, because I think a lot of women portray this perfect girlfriend type person, and they're not really. It's just an act to try and get the man. And I will confess that I did that a little bit when I met Darren.
Yeah. I was not going to play the girly girl game. I was not going to be that. I'm like, look, for a good amount of time when you start going out with somebody, you don't know if it's going to work out or not. So you run on the assumption that if it doesn't, you're going to be grown up and adult about it. So the whole thing, it's not until you get much further into it that you actually realise whether you're really going to be, whether you've got a keeper or not. Let's put it that way. Because not everything works that way. Some things burn out very fast and they're done and they're gone and finished, and other things it's a long-term process. I think judging people or trying not being yourself in order to try and fit what you think they want is a surefire way to end a relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's hard for fellas though when you think about we can put makeup on and we can have false hair, extensions and push-up bras, waist trainers and high heels. Walk into the pub like that. Whereas a bloke, if he's got a bit of hair missing, you think, oh no, he's losing his hair or something like that.
Well, Darren had a full head of hair when I met him. He always blames me. He always blames me for the baldness now.
It's all the nagging, you see.
It's gentle persuasion. It's not nagging. Right.
They call it nudging now, don't they? Isn't that the new term for it?
So this is from Anonymous. And she said, Dear Deirdres, I've been single for nearly 20 years, and though I'm not planning on changing that, I am wondering, are things still the same? Are there new rules? Is kissing still a thing, or do you sniff each other instead? What are people's expectations in relationships? Do you have to like them? Thanks, Anonymous.
Brilliant. That's superb.
I think if you've been single for 20 years and you feel like you want to let someone in your life, then just be open to it, because I think sometimes I think a lot of people find someone when they're not looking. So don't look. Just be open to conversations and meeting new people, and something might happen with somebody naturally. Is what I would say.
Not the way you would expect, I suspect. It could be someone who's right under your nose, which often happens. who
Yeah.
you think of as a friend, and then for some reason something changes, something shifts.
Yeah.
Or it could be someone completely new. But I think Karen's hit the whole thing on the head, is just to say kind of yes inside yourself, to yes, if there's someone that's going to amuse me, and don't think they've got to be a forever thing. You could have a glorious year-long relationship that's fantastic, and you come out of it a sort of better person than you went in, which is, I always think, is the mark of a good relationship, that it's not just, you actually grow as a result of it. So it doesn't have to be, people get too afraid of being hurt, of it not working out, and then they're too afraid to try. So the thing is to have no expectation, and then you won't disappoint yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, don't expect perfect straight away or ever.
Perfect's boring.
Yeah.
Didn't you meet Barry with some kind of dating?
No, I met him online.
Yeah.
In a chat group. It wasn't really it wasn't a dating site. It was MSN, old MSN chat.
Oh yeah.
We just got chatting in there. But we spoke for months. And then went on to private messaging and sexting and all that.
Oh, bless Mike. Mike says he's been waiting for 30 years.
Oh, the thing is to get out there. Don't wait. Get out there and shake your tail feathers and act like you don't care. And that's the key to it, is to actually not to care too much. Mm-hmm. If you over care about something, you're going to stuff it up.
Daisy May says similar backgrounds, beliefs and brains. I do agree and disagree with that a bit, because I think if me and Darren had the same brain, I think we would probably kill each other. Because I am the warrior, neurotic, oh my God, and he's the calm down, let's think about this, let's talk about this. I think if we were both like that, it would just be like, headless chickens all the time.
That's where the opposites work.
True.
You need some balance. You do need balance, and there's always one person who seems more up in the air and one person who's more grounding. And it's not always the same person at the same time, at different stages of life.
Absolutely.
But you want someone who's going to enhance who you are. So they're going to give you more confidence. They're going to help you grow as a person and not get stuck, especially if you're someone who tends to get a bit stuck in little niches of things that don't serve. In terms of brains, I wouldn't say, I think what they mean is you need someone who understands you and that you're on a bit of a par with him, perhaps intellectually. That helps, because it's not insurmountable, but it can be a bit of a barrier if you're not connecting, if you don't really connect that way.
Oh, she meant brains, meaning intelligence, both academic and emotional. Yeah,
but that's asking a lot of a man, because just generally physiologically how their brains work is more sort of logical intelligence. There's not
not always.
Not always. But I'm not, I'm not stereotyping. I'm just saying that it's very it's a rare thing, I think. Well, perhaps it's just my experience
to get both.
To get both.
But then they would say the same with us as well, I suppose. And it's being able to bring that out in somebody as well. People aren't set. That's the thing. Their brains are plastic in the sense of changeable.
Yeah.
So, but you can't change somebody. They have to want to become who they are. Yeah.
Totally.
I think the reason that Darren gave up smoking was not my nagging. It was the fact that the price of cigarettes just kept going up and he didn't want to pay that much.
Yeah.
Don't think it had anything to do with me. Right, next one. Dear ladies, I'm in love with Jason Momoa. Is that how you say it?
Oh, so am I.
How can I get him to notice me?
You can't. It's mine.
Hopefully, Mrs. Momoa.
I think that his wife might have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Psychologically, it's worth thinking about. What is it about him, apart from some of the more obvious attributes? What is it about that person that you're really drawn to? And do other people, you know, have those qualities? Not everyone is, people make them perfect. And I'm sure even Mrs. Jason Momoa, whoever said Lucky
There's
Lady
Lisa
might be.
Bonet. He's married to Lisa Bonet.
Okay, but I mean, she will have seen him and not as perfect, I'm sure, especially once they've been together a while. So, but it's what is it about them? Is it that he's got a lovely warm energy and he's got a ripping sense of humour, from what I can tell? I find that very attractive. But other people could also have that. So it's trying to work out what it is that you really are looking for, rather than, yes, I could quite happily go for him.
Now that's funny that Laura said there that she was seeing somebody 14 years older than her before lockdown. It was too big an age gap. Luckily, lockdown gave me an excuse to end it. My next question was going to be, I'm married to a man with quite a large age gap, so 15 years older. It was fine at the beginning, but 10 years down the line, he's an old man and I want to go out, have fun, but he wants to sit at home with his slippers on and watch TV. What do you suggest I do?
Oh.
Well, could you not go out with your friends and get your fix that way? Going out, if you want to go out partying, if you like, want to put it that way. Go out with your friends.
And
You never know. I was going to say, you never know. Have you actually talked to him about how you feel? Maybe he thinks you're happy doing that. Maybe you should speak to him and say, look, I want to go out sometimes. Well, obviously we can't at the minute, but in the future, say, you know, come out with me, see what he says, because you never know, he might want to as well. It's just that he thinks you're happy doing that.
Could try and find some sort of compromise, I suppose, you know.
Yeah.
Like a bit of give and take.
Yeah.
And is the love still there? I mean, is what the relationship is about still there, or has the age difference become a bit of an excuse to sort of say, well, it's because of the age, rather than have you fallen out of love with this person? It happens, and you have to talk to them. They have a right to discuss with you the state of the relationship. I think, yeah, it could be symptomatic of something else going on there. Because when you get into a relationship with someone who's 14, 15 years your senior, you kind of sort of half know that there's going to be some differences down the line. So yeah, there's a lot of talking that needs to be done by the sound of things, and sober, calm, not when you're having a row kind of talking.
The other thing I would say is, you know, sometimes it's quite easy to stay in that comfortable rut, and it needs one of you to get you out of it. So, you know, be that person and just see what they say. And if they say, no, I just want to sit at home, then say, well, sorry, I'm going out with my friends, like Kelly said. Then see what they say.
Yeah, I mean, people who've been together quite a long time do tend to do things, or sometimes will tend to kind of start to live a little more separate lives. That doesn't necessarily mean the core of the relationship isn't there, but it's just a new stage in your life and in their life, and it's working out what you both want. Does that suit you? Is that what you both really want, or is somebody desperately unhappy? In which case they have to say. They can't just sit on it and wait until it all explodes in some dramatic fashion.
And obviously, you know, I don't know, because I don't know if the person's male or female, but if it's a female, well, either way, whoever that person is that wants to go out, you don't want them going out and then potentially meeting someone and having an affair. So, you know.
There's always
but that's a whole different kettle of fish, though, isn't it? That's not going out. That's not just the need to go out. That's deep unhappiness with the situation, and that's why you're going out and looking for something else.
Yeah, and that's why they have to evaluate the relationship before you start getting into who's going out and where. It's like, yeah, but is this what you both still really want, or is this just a symptom? Yeah.
Right. You can probably make it up. I don't know if they want an answer, but
Joan says she's 14 years older than her husband, and she goes out more often than he does.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't see your comment there. I've seen you say it now.
Agony aunt. I'd love to, but then I've been a psychologist for many years, so it's not exactly new, I suppose, to me.
I knew you'd be good at this, Heather, because you're
Yeah.
I mean, poor Heather. I spent about a Bristol. I think I was talking to you for about 2 hours about all my problems, and she's just so good. She just sat there, and I had like a free counselling session.
You had a free session, yes, you did, but you needed it, so that's fine.
About my claustrophobia and everything. So, okay, here's a funny one. Dear Deirdre's, do you think lampposts move when we're not looking? As I'm a really good driver, but one crashed into me, and now everyone thinks I'm dangerous. Yours, Lumpy McLumpface.
I think I know who that is.
Now, I'm not sure. I don't know if she said, but he or she said, was alcohol involved? Because if alcohol was involved, then I wouldn't worry about it. It was misjudgment because of alcohol. If alcohol wasn't involved, then were you on your phone at the time? Because that often causes walking into lampposts or driving into them.
Lapses of concentration.
Are they going to answer me? Are they in the chat?
Are they still speaking to us? Yeah.
I think that was just supposed to be a joke.
Yeah, Lumpy McLumpface, love it. Was it Lumpy McLumpleg?
Yes. I don't know if they're going to answer. Has everyone guessed who it is?
Alcohol wasn't involved. They've come back. No alcohol was involved, just a total lapse of concentration, I think. But just don't do it again. I think that's the thing. And there was a fly in the eye. Well, that's going to put anyone off their stride, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I just say, Laura, I had no idea you were 63. I thought you was about 27.
I did
I
as
don't know
well.
why. I don't know why. I just, sometimes read people's names. You think, oh, yeah. Make your own picture of them in your mind, don't you?
Yeah.
I thought you was about 27, Laura.
Yeah. I'm sure she'll take that.
Yeah.
Roll with that one, Laura. That was meant to be a compliment.
Right, has anyone got any more dilemmas or questions?
Feel free. I'm here all the hour.
Have you come to the end of your list then?
I have, yeah.
I think Heather should do a weekly, quick, snappy problems to Heather.
Dear Heather.
Yeah, dear Heather. That'd be brilliant.
Makes a change from being Heather the weather, doesn't it? Have a different role. Yeah, no, I'm quite happy to do that because I do like it, and it is nice. It's nice to talk to other people, and people get problems and they kind of feel like they're the only one that's got it because it feels like you must be the only person in the world that's had to deal with it. And quite often, and especially in my kind of former life as a therapist, you really would see the same sort of things come up and the same sort of issues. And although to everybody it does feel differently, of course it's unique, some of the underpinning stuff is not that uncommon.
Have you got any questions or dilemmas you want to put to the ladies, Nick?
When do I get to stop sanitising every time I come in the front door?
When COVID goes away.
Yeah, you're going to have to use barrier cream. Apparently that's really good.
Oh, is it?
Barrier cream. Yeah, I was recommended it when I was studying aromatherapy because it protects your hands.
Oh.
I didn't know any of the answer to that one, sorry.
Are the ladies all aware that Packlink prices are ridiculously low? Oh, good. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Nick. Yes, we are. I've been using those all week. What a difference.
Yeah. You don't need to shut the door. Leave the door open.
Yeah. I've got a big jewellery lot that someone's sending me via Packlink, taking full advantage of the lower rates. So there will be some live unboxings next week. Unbaggings.
Sorry, there's my ice cream van.
I know. Get me a 99 with strawberry sauce, please.
Oh, it's a little bit late today. Yesterday, 2 came along at once within 15 minutes of each other. So.
God, don't they normally have turf wars or something?
Someone on someone else's patch. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a bit like window cleaners, isn't it? They're very carefully, tightly controlled, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you were counselling me about my claustrophobia, I think we decided that I need hypnosis, don't I? Because I can't.
I would recommend, from what you told me at the time, I mean, obviously I was a hypnotherapist, that's why it kind of comes up, but it's very useful for anxieties, for nervous stuff, and dealing with those sort of fears. It is incredibly effective at that, probably more effective at those sort of things than almost anything else. So yeah, and clearly I'm a million miles away from you, and I try not to work with friends anyway, but you know, if there are people who will be doing training, I think some people may offer online sessions, like a Zoom thing. I don't know. I mean, I personally wouldn't feel terribly comfortable doing that, but you know, I'm sure they will. You can be 2 meters apart from somebody in their house, or we will be able to quite soon. And I think then you'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be.
Emma says she has a problem, that there are ice cream vans everywhere and she's on a diet.
Oh, bugger. Earplugs. No, don't hear them. Not hearing.
I just have ice lollies in the freezer. So if the ice cream van comes round and I fancy something, I've got some ice lollies in the freezer, which are a lot healthier than an ice cream.
Yeah, we've got ice creams in the bottom of the freezer as well, because they always seem to turn up at mealtime. And it's like, well, you're about to have your dinner, so no.
They probably try to time it where they think people will be finishing their dinner. So
yeah.
Dessert, whatever.
Like I say, we eat late, so
yeah, we do.
Yeah. Oh, ice cream problems of the world.
Mandy says I'm not licking a potentially COVID flavoured ice cream.
A bit like pistachio, a bit nuttier. I don't know. We've got a lovely ice cream parlour here in Tunbridge, actually, called Creams, and my son loves it, and he can't believe they're not even open for takeaways, and he's just so bloody gutted. That's his whole thing, is wanting to be able to go down there and get an ice cream.
Yeah, we've got a nice one in Hitchin, and they've been open the whole time in terms of takeaways. They've had like a table in the doorway, and then people place their order at the table and they bring it out.
I wish ours would do that.
Yeah.
I'd have a happy teenager.
Yeah, there's a little homemade ice cream company in Felixstowe, and not homemade, you know, made on the premises, and it's really delicious, and they're doing deliveries, and I've got a friend who keeps posting every time she gets a delivery, and I'm just like, stop it, I want that ice cream.
Cruel. That's teasing, and that's not nice. Oh dear. I always think though, with ice cream, you know, you get some of the really gorgeous ones, and I think you only need a little bit, whereas people have these sort of, I don't know, the sort of big cheapy soft scoop jobs, and I always think they're so unsatisfying. And I think it's better to have a little bit of something that's really lovely than have a lot of something that's meh.
Definitely.
Philosophy on life.
Oh, we're not getting any more questions.
No.
I've got any questions.
I've got so many problems out there.
I know. I've got a boot fair opening up. Here's the dilemma.
Has got one.
Boot fair starts on the 5th of July, which happens to be my husband's birthday. Not just any birthday, but his 60th birthday. So I can't really go running out to a boot fair. No.
Making breakfast in bed and just nipping out to the shop to get him a newspaper or something.
3 hours later.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's actually said I can. He said, he's more than happy for me to go as long as I don't wake him up first. And I'm like, fine. But whether I will or not, I don't know. I don't know. It depends on the weather, and if I'm in the mood. I don't really need anything, it has to be said. Yeah. So.
Good luck, Nia. Nia's going to the supermarket for the first time in 3 months. Good luck with that.
Oh yeah, good luck. I hope they have got Ben and Jerry's. Also, other brands are available, obviously. Ben
and Jerry's is my ice cream of choice.
Okay, yeah, there's some good ones. Yeah, no, I'm saying I don't really need to go to the boot fair and get a whole load of stock. I've actually got a whole load of clothes that I want to just sort of wholesale off to people, because I'm shifting what I do slightly, so I'm having a bit of a rethink. So there may be some very large bags becoming available quite soon.
Lisa's got a good question. Have you read that one, Corinne?
Red pill to jump 10 years ahead with 10 million, or 20 years back with everything you know now?
Definitely 20 years back.
Same.
I'm going to go, just to be different, I'm going to go forward then. 10 million and 64. No, 64, 54.
Wins me whole.
54. Yeah. I reckon I could do 10 million in 20 years.
Yeah.
Probably
Travel
next
the
week,
world.
maybe.
That's assuming you don't know all the lottery numbers for every week in the last 20 years.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
gone back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what I was doing 20 years ago. 2000. Oh, working in the shop. Oh, yes. My dad went into partnership with someone that conned him out of a lot of money, and I knew he wasn't right. I knew he was dodgy. I just had a feeling about him, and I said something to him. I said, I can't remember what I said to him, but he said to me, little girls need to keep their noses out things they don't understand.
Oh,
And I
patronising.
knew he was dodgy. And fast forward about 6 months, he'd done a runner with a load of money, left my dad in loads of debt. We were at the wholesalers one day, and the manager came up to us and basically said, do you know about this? Your account is, overdue. And he bought loads of stuff on the account at the wholesalers, and basically left my dad in a lot of trouble. So they had to sell everything. My dad had to sell the shop, and it was awful, absolutely awful. So if I could go back 20 years and convince my dad not to go into partnership with him, that would be good. But then if that had happened, I probably wouldn't have met. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have met Darren, because my parents moved somewhere else. I moved back in with them, had split up with my boyfriend, and I met Darren through a friend that was living around the corner from my parents' new house. So would I have met Darren? Would I be here now? Would I have met you guys?
Well, there you go. You see.
Exactly. Everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? And
yeah. I mean, 20 years ago, I was a hypnotherapist, and year 2000 was a very, very good year for me. Unlike 2020, that I think for most of us has all been a bit old. So it was a splendid year. I wouldn't change very much at all, actually. Even if I went back, there are a few bits of hindsight and a few decent investments, yes. But in terms of, that was the year I was initiated as a witch. So I'm never going to forget the year 2000. So many lovely things have happened. So yeah, I'd quite like to go back and just do that again, because it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd like to do either, to be honest. You'd miss the whole 10 years of your life just for money, and I wouldn't care about that. And I also don't think I'd want to change anything really, or live those years again. So, yeah.
It was the 10 million that sold me, Andrew. I've got to be honest.
It's the money.
Yeah, but you've lost 10 years of your life.
No, but what am I possibly going to be doing in the next 10 years?
Oh, so much.
You don't know, do you?
So many possibilities.
Adventures afoot.
Yeah.
But I could do a lot more with 10 million. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. Victoria Plum didn't know I was a witch. It's like, oops, that cat's out of the bag now, isn't it?
Lex has got a question. Have you seen it, Karen?
No. You read
my friend never wears a knickers. What can I do to convince her to wear some?
One time.
Emma's got a question as well. She says, I put this on my Insta yesterday. I want to design myself some business cards. I often find when I'm at car boots, etc., I'm buying up someone's vintage goodies. I remember I saw that yesterday, actually. She wants to know what you would put on it. So it's tricky though. I'm not sure what to put on it apart from my name and number. I don't want to put my store name on it. I'm not sure if I should put that I'm a vintage dealer. Yeah. So she wanted to know, should she put like, I buy this sort of stuff, or, oh, there you go.
Yeah, something along those lines with what you actually buy and what you're interested in.
That's it.
Yeah, see, that hasn't got Heather's store on
Nothing
it.
to do with eBay. Nothing to do with eBay on it. And I've always got one or two of those. These are Vistaprint, dead cheap, dead easy. And I just make sure I have some on me wherever I am, because you never know when you're going to bump into somebody.
Yeah. See, this is another thing that Nick's actually talked about doing a lot and's never done. But yeah.
Yeah, you can always pop them up in shop windows and things like that as well. News agents and stuff, supermarkets.
Yeah.
I did see another question.
Oh, there's loads. I think there's a few questions that have come in, aren't there? What else have we missed?
It's a
Darren
photo
says,
one.
does love happen when you least expect it? I never look. Yeah, I would say so. Don't know what anyone else thinks, but
I'd agree
Yeah,
with that.
I totally said to myself and my friends, I said, right, I'm going to have a good year, 2 years of being single, because I just got out of a really toxic relationship where basically I didn't realise he'd done it very slowly. It was very controlling, got rid of all my friends that I had, didn't like me talking to anyone, didn't even like me spending time with my family. And I suddenly one day woke up and realised what was happening and that he wasn't going to change. And I said to my friends, no way, I don't want to meet anyone.
I think love is very different from what you see in the movies anyway.
Yeah,
definitely.
You don't very often get that weak knees swooning.
Oh, I did a bit.
When you see the love of your life.
I have to say, I did a bit. Darren, if you watch this, you're going to feel like, wow. I'm picking him up. He's a good man.
And Lorna has a question. What do you all use to take photos? I'm looking to upgrade my phone to the iPhone Pro Max, but it's expensive.
Cheap option. Yeah, I've got a Samsung S9 that I bought off someone on eBay because my really old phone was completely bugged, and it basically cost me 150 quid. Really nice photographs. Takes very good photographs. So even in low light, which was the one that I wanted, because lighting is always our thing, isn't it? It's always the bloody bugbear is how to get decent lighting. So you haven't got to spend a fortune to get decent pictures.
Yeah.
Any really modern phone should do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got an iPhone 8 that I use.
Yeah. Yeah, I was using the iPhone 7 and that was fine. It was taking, good enough pictures, but the battery started going funny. So Darren, there was an offer on with Sky, and Darren said, "Oh, I've just read the reviews for the iPhone 11 Pro, and I think you should get it." And he said, "I'll pay for it for you." It's very nice of him. So he pays my contract for that.
But that's a very expensive phone, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
So
it doesn't go out the house. So I've still got my iPhone 7, so I take that out with me. Or I was before all of this, and this just stays in the house, and I've got my SIM card in my old iPhone, so this just stays in the house, and I take my pictures with it because I don't want to, even though it's got
a very expensive camera you've got there, Karin.
Yeah.
If you don't take it out the house and you don't have a SIM card in it.
Yeah. Well, I've got everything connected to it, so I've got my email.
My daughters have got that as phone, and they do take lovely, lovely photos.
Yeah.
But I take my photos on the iPad. I always have. I've not really upgraded to anything yet.
Darren keeps saying to me, put the SIM card in it, and I probably will, because the battery is getting rubbish. I really do need to sell that iPhone 7 before the battery completely conks out. So.
Did you see Darren's comment to you, Heather, about your card?
I saw something about them being in telephone boxes. Is
very
that
cheap? Yeah.
Yes, it's okay. Don't see telephone boxes anymore around these parts.
No. If ever I see one, they've generally got books in or been used for something else.
Yeah, urinals usually.
There's
No.
someone in the next town to us, and he actually collects them. And his whole front garden is telephone boxes and old post boxes. The whole front
Wow.
garden. So people often go there to take pictures. There's loads of them.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must be quite a big front garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's everything, isn't it? Is that all the questions?
I think so. I haven't seen any more.
I hope everybody enjoyed that, and I'm really sorry that I probably shared too much, Darren. If you watch this, he tells me I'm talking too much, and I'm sorry if anybody was offended by anything I said.
Like what?
I don't know. I'll just put a disclaimer out there just in case.
Yes. I don't deliberately cause offence, but sometimes it just happens. Oops.
It's a good T-shirt.
Yeah.
Although I've got 2 T-shirts that say "Sorry, not sorry," so I'm saying sorry, but I'm not really sorry.
Oh, I don't know, Lisa J. I have no idea. Give me a couple of weeks to sort something out. It'll be a live chat though, because I can't do it any other way.
You can. You can do it.
I'd enjoy that, Heather. I think that's a really good idea.
I should do it, shouldn't I? Just to decide sort of what day and try and keep it to. I'm not very good at being regular, as you may have noticed. Try and do something perhaps sort of in an evening or what have you, and not coincide with too many other people.
Yeah.
And just see what happens. Yeah, give it a go.
I was gonna say you could do it where you record it on your phone and then just upload it to YouTube.
I'm really bad with that. I don't know why. I find it easier to talk to people in real time because that's how I've worked for years. So I find it much easier. So yeah, if everyone's up for it, I'll try and put something out. I've got a lot of work to do in the next couple of weeks, but I will try and think on that one. See what I can do.
Yeah. Because I thought, you're full of great advice, definitely.
I'm full of something. I'm not sure it's great advice. Okay.
Right, we're going to go anyway on that note. So thanks everyone for joining. I don't know whose channel we're on next week. Do you know?
I think it's me.
Oh, right, okay. So we'll see you on Nick and Andrea's channel next week. And I hope everyone...
Andrea keeps tracking it because I keep losing track. I'm going to have to write it down again. Andrea, I'm sorry. We're relying on you to keep us all in order.
Yes.
And yes, Darren, very funny, but never mind. We're gonna go.